Hey everyone, it's Argonath here from The Right Way, and got a really interesting story here. This was posted on the 13th of August, so it's a few days old. Um, so this has happened in New Zealand, obviously, so if you're not here from New Zealand, it might still interest you if you just keep watching for a little while. So let's have a look at this headline. A Mount Maunganui teacher guilty of serious misconduct fails in their appeal to have this misconduct taken away. Oh my God, I wonder what they did. Serious misconduct. Did they sexually assault a student? Did they beat up and assault a student? What did they do? I mean, serious misconduct. It must be absolutely disgusting what they've done. We better read on and have a look at, or try to read what this teacher actually did. When students in Gregory Robinson's class raised concerns about him hitting a student, he suggested they go to the front office and talk to the principal. He expected them to be back within 15 minutes and that would be the end of the matter. Instead, it was the start of a legal process to try and clear his name. Because he thought that, well, I haven't actually hit anyone, then that should be the end of the matter. 3 years later, the teacher of 40 years was cleared of the allegation of hitting a student, but found to have committed serious misconduct. Wonder what it was? After removing an earphone from a student's ear. What the F? What the hell is going on in friggin' New Zealand schools? This is absolutely disgusting. Just because he took an earphone out of a student's ear, this is classed as serious misconduct? Everyone's going to start raving mad because our bloody education system is full of left-wing nut jobs. A Court of Appeal decision released this week stated a teachers' disciplinary tribunal found Robinson was teaching a Year 10 maths class at Mount Maunganui College where two students were listening to music through earphones and drumming on a desk. When the students didn't respond to Robinson's request to stop, the teacher attempted to confiscate the phone. It was lucky he didn't get brought up with trying to confiscate the phone as well, because that's obviously not allowed to do that either. When that didn't work, he removed the earphone from the student's ear, accidentally breaking them in the process. This is serious misconduct. I mean, he didn't even damage these students in any particular way. He just removed an earphone. Sure, he broke them accidentally, which maybe he can repay them or something, right? But this is serious misconduct. This is the state of our education system in New Zealand. Teachers have no rights at all. I mean, obviously these students were disrupting the class because they were listening to music and tapping on the desk, right? Which would be friggin' annoying if you're trying to learn something. Obviously these students don't want to learn anything, so they're going to be the dregs of society living on the benefit here in New Zealand. The appeal decision said a verbal altercation followed and the student was removed from the class. The incident resulted in a complaint to the tribunal by the school's principal. The principal didn't even have the back of this teacher. Under the Education Act, a school is obliged to report complaints of misconduct directly to the... Okay, so fair enough. They had to report it, so fair enough. Okay. In the decision, Robinson said the notification was made after a different student in the class said they saw him hit the student in the process of removing the earphones. I addressed the class and said, anyone who thinks they saw me hit the boy better go to administration and make your case. I was expecting them back in 15 minutes with abject letters of apology, but that's not how schools work anymore. Of course it doesn't, because teachers have no power at schools in New Zealand anymore. Maybe that's the same around other Western countries as well. Basically, students have the power now. They can say any cocked up charge on a teacher without any evidence at all, and they're automatically believed, and the teachers are just hung out to dry. Ultimately, the allegation never stacked up. An investigation carried out by the tribunal found there was insufficient evidence to prove Robinson had struck a student, because he hadn't done it, obviously. However, two charges were laid, one for his act of removing the earphones and one for failing to de-escalate the situation. So you get pinged for de-escalating when these idiots don't want to do anything anyway. The charges were ultimately proven and Robinson was censured. This is absolutely ridiculous. The tribunal found Robinson removed the headphones unexpectedly and recklessly. Unexpectedly and recklessly. What the fuck? An act that amounted to a serious misconduct due to the possibility it could adversely affect the student's well-being and ran the risk of bringing the teaching profession into disrepute. You know what's bringing the teaching profession into disrepute? You stupid tribunal people. It's not backing the teachers and being able to deal with disruptive students who don't want to learn. Right? That's what is bringing the teaching profession into disrepute. That is ridiculous. It was agreed the breaking of the earphones was accidental. Robinson, who worked as a teacher for 40 years, appealed the decision with the district court. That was unsuccessful, with the court upholding the... Of course, because the courts are all left-wing idiots as well, full of left-wing judges. That's the problem. He later appealed again, this time with the Court of Appeal. The substance of Robinson's appeal was a mix of procedural flaws, errors of fact and law, and the approach to determination of penalty and cost. Again, the court upheld the tribunal's original decision. The full details of the tribunal's findings remain unclear. The written decision remains secret. Why? You should be releasing this. With the Teaching Council of New Zealand Chief Executive saying it would be published when the appeal process was complete. Speaking to Open Justice, Robinson accepted that removing the earphones wasn't the best course of action, but disputed the act amounted to anyone with a brain. Even an ant with a brain will know that it is not a serious misconduct to remove an earphone from someone's ear. It's not going to damage your ear by removing it. He broke it. Fair enough. He can replace it. But removing something from someone's ear is not going to have a lasting detrimental effect on the rest of their life for this particular student. In fact, the next day I bet they didn't give a shit at all because they just wanted to get this teacher in trouble. That's what they wanted to do. It was a fair cop in the first place, only came to the notice of the tribunal because the allegations of striking someone. He also remained firm in his view that the charge of failing to de-escalate the situation was unjust. The failure to de-escalate, whatever that means, I don't know. Everybody, teachers, police, know that it's very difficult to de-escalate somebody who has absolutely no intention of being de-escalated. Exactly. What are you supposed to do when they don't want to de-escalate? I offered to replace the earphones in the first instance and I left the room. What else could I do? This is just it. Just friggin' leave. Don't, all you teachers that are in this situation, just leave the profession. Go and do something more useful with your life. All right, find another job somewhere. There's tons of jobs out there. You don't have to put up with the shit from students, and you don't have to put up with the shit from the teaching council and the tribunal. Robinson said he could not recall the advice given to him as to how he could have de-escalated the situation. He said the incident cost him $55,000, made up of $25,000 legal fees and $30,000 in lost wages. Oh my God, he really tried to clear his name, but these idiots just couldn't see the trees for the woods. I taught at the school for 13 years. I've been relief teaching there for 4 or 5. It's a job I enjoyed. I always took pride in trying to deal with things myself rather than create work for the administration. I also felt it was not my job to get any kids' educational opportunities terminated, so I tried to deal with their behaviour myself, but I bit off more than I could chew this time. Just let them do what they want in the classrooms, right? If people don't want to learn, that's fine. If everyone else learning gets disrupted, that's fine as well. But you know that ultimately it comes back to the teachers, because then the parents will go, well, why isn't my little girl learning as much? Why can't you keep control of the class? So teachers are just in a no-win situation. The stress involved, the long sleepless nights going over and over in your head has been a very bruising 3 years. I could not feel like I could return to a classroom, although there was no official reason that I couldn't. He later returned to teaching at a different school, but has subsequently retired. In a statement, the Teaching Council Chief Leslie Hoskins said, "We understand that teachers can find themselves in different situations, but the safety and well-being of children and young people must always be..." They didn't do anything to this person, you absolute moron. Oh my God. I cannot believe these left-wing idiots in positions of power. Oh, this is absolutely, what a terrible story. I really feel for this guy who lost so much money trying to clear his name, as I'm sure we all would be if we were falsely accused of something, and all of the teaching profession not backing him up. That's absolutely terrible. If you're a teacher, get out now, is all I can say. I don't envy your position. I think you guys need to be paid a lot more for what you have to go through. But there are plenty of jobs out there. Maybe you can find something else which is more rewarding than trying to... I mean, I know it's not all children, it's just a small minority, but they ruin it for the rest of all the good kids. Let me know what you think in the comment section. I'd really love to know what you think about what's going on here, and whether you, like me, you think that our education system in New Zealand has just been taken over by a bunch of left-wing nut jobs, and this make teaching much more harder than it actually should be, and they need to give power back to the teachers. Love to read your comments. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you don't like the video, you're welcome to give it a thumbs down. And if you like my content, please subscribe as well. Anyway, hopefully I'll catch you in the next video.